Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I cannot believe it has been over 5.5 years since I started working in tech. It has honestly been the craziest of experiences, and today I wanted to use that experience to share some tips and some advice for anyone who's looking to get started in tech in 2024. For anyone who's new here, I started working in tech straight out of university in 2018. I was hired at Microsoft on the grad scheme straight after finishing my master's degree in computing. And ever since then, I have been working in tech sales, and I currently work in cybersecurity as a solutions engineer. Since then, I've been helping people get into tech by sharing tips on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you're watching this video, then you're clearly interested in the tech industry. So let's get started. Before you start learning technology, before you download Visual Studio Code and start typing hello world, I need you to understand your why. Why do you want to work in tech? What interests you about this industry? When I decided to pursue my master's and go into tech, there were only really two reasons why I decided to do so. The first was because tech sounded really cool. So this was back in 2016, and at the time there was a rise in things like Uber, Airbnb, WhatsApp, and tech was starting to really gain momentum, and people were starting to understand what it was and the impact that it would have in society. And then there were also shows like Mr. Robot. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but it was about a cybersecurity engineer that used to hack people. And I was watching this the summer before starting my master's, and I was like, this sounds really cool. So maybe if I do tech, I will also be cool, which is a really silly reason, but it was definitely one of my whys. And my second why was about money, because you guys know I'm all about cash. I've always been money motivated. And originally, of course, I planned to go into finance, where you can obviously make quite a bit of money. So when I decided to make the switch, before I was like, yes, let's go for it, I did some Googles about like the average salary for certain roles, specifically software engineering, because that's where I thought I would be. I had no idea what tech sales was at the time. But yeah, I saw that the salaries looked good and there was a good potential earning. So I was like, let's go for it. So I really want you guys to think about your why, because your why will determine which area in tech you go into and which job you pursue. So for example, if you're money motivated like me, you're more likely to want to go into tech sales because kind of the fast-paced, money-focused environment is going to help you thrive. But if you're someone who likes to go more into the detail, you want to be more in the background, you enjoy building things, then you're probably definitely going to lean more into like software engineering. So first things first, determine your why before you do anything else. So once you've decided on your why, you're now going to be focused on your niche, which is what area in tech are you going to focus on? What area in tech are you going to spend your time learning and improving and building skills around? There are so many different areas in tech, and you see so much on the internet right now. People are telling you to go into project management, people are telling you to go into business analytics, people are saying programming, people are saying cybersecurity, people are saying so many different things, and it can be confusing. But the thing is, guys, and I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, you cannot do everything. That's why you have to pick one area, you have to focus, and then spend your time building skills in that, and then hopefully that's going to help you land a job in that space. And you're probably wondering, Hosanna, what are these areas, what are these niches that you're talking about? Like, what are the ones which are good for beginners? What are the ones which are in demand? Well, I really think for those two categories, there are about 5 different areas that you can consider. The first area which I think all tech beginners should definitely consider is programming. There are so many in-demand programming languages that you can learn to get started with tech, and having programming skills will open you up to a variety of roles within the tech space. Programming and engineering generally is a core function within tech. We can't obviously have any products without engineering, so having those skills in programming and learning how to build new solutions will definitely help you set you up for a new career within the tech space. I actually have a video on the programming languages that you should consider as a beginner, so I will link that either here or here, so make sure you check that out if programming and engineering is an area which you're interested in. The second area you can consider as a tech beginner is data science, data analytics. The reason for this is data has gained so much momentum within the tech space simply because of the volume of data that we have in society at the moment, and companies are realizing that they can do something with this data. They can increase their revenue, they can increase their customers by targeting them specifically based on the data that they have about you. So if you are interested in tech but you're not sure where to go, then definitely consider data, because it may open you up to lots of opportunities within the tech space, lots of different roles, and hopefully help you to have skills that will continue to be in demand for the future. The third space and tech niche that I think all beginners should consider is cybersecurity. As technology grows, cybersecurity has to grow as well. This means that we're always going to need people who have these skills in security, in networking, to protect our technology. Therefore, if you're considering tech, you don't know where to go, you don't know what you're interested in, definitely check out security. Obviously, like I said, I work in the space, so I know that it is in demand and there are definitely opportunities to learn in this space. The fourth space is cloud computing. I used to work in cloud computing as an Azure specialist at Microsoft, so I definitely saw how in demand and how much growth there was in cloud computing. Every day, hundreds of companies are migrating to the cloud, either Azure, GCP or AWS, and they need people to have skills to help them. Every day I look online and I see cloud engineering jobs popping up everywhere essentially. So definitely consider cloud computing. And the great thing is that these tech companies who have cloud computing and are cloud computing providers offer some great learning, because they know that they need more people in this space. So Microsoft, Amazon and Google all have great cloud certifications that you can look at if you want to get started with tech. And then last but absolutely not least is UX UI design. Every day there's a new application for us to download and use, and these businesses want to ensure they meet users' needs. And what do they need? They need UX UI designers to help with the functionality and also the appearance of the application. So if you're someone who is more creative but still want to go into the tech space, then definitely consider UX UI design. Once you've picked the area that you're interested in going in, you now need to start learning. The tech industry is all about having the right skills, and there are so many resources out there to support you on your journey. If you are just a beginner, make sure that you use free resources. There's no reason for you to pay for a course or a boot camp or anything else just as you've decided to start going into tech and you're interested in tech. There are so many great free resources like YouTube. YouTube has some great YouTubers who do tech content like Tiffin Tech, Programming with Mosh, Mike Dane. I could go on forever. There's so many great tutorials for both things like programming, UX, UI design, and other even like non-technical related tech skills are on YouTube. For example, there are people on here who talk about tech sales. So make sure you leverage the free resources first before you go on to paid resources for learning tech. Once you've done your foundational learning using the free resources that you found online, or you've paid for a cheap course online, and you've decided that yes, tech is for me, I want to be in the tech space, I want to be a tech girl, and you're committed to this, this is when I would consider doing something like a boot camp or a degree. I personally did a degree, and the main reason for this is because there really wasn't kind of boot camps when I was doing my degree, my tech degree back in 2016. There might have been some, but there was nowhere near as many as there was back then. I also wanted to spend the time at university. I really enjoyed university, and obviously university gives you more than just learning. You're able to meet new people, you're able to network, you're also able to have that like traditional credibility on your resume to say you have a master's degree. So I went down the degree route, but there are many people who go down the bootcamp route, and you can too if it's of interest. For those who might not know, boot camps are short learning programs. They might be 3 months, it might be 6 months, it might be 12 months, which essentially gives you like intensive training in tech. Lots of people within the tech space now do boot camps because they're often cheaper and obviously shorter than doing a degree. I would just say make sure you do your research on the boot camps. Make sure they're able to give you kind of feedback or testimonials on the people that they've helped to get a job. Obviously, if you're doing a free boot camp, it's likely that's just for learning, but when there's boot camps who charge like thousands, it's more likely because they've actually got the credibility, the network within the space to help you go into a career. Having a good resume is all about showing the hiring managers and the recruiters that you essentially have the skills to do the job that they're advertising for. So for example, if you're someone who wants to become a web developer and all you've done so far is you've done a course online, or you've done a a degree, which obviously is really, really great. And you want to show them that, look, my skills are just not on paper. What you want to do is you want to build a portfolio, and a tech portfolio is essentially a list of projects which you have built with the programming skills that you have learned. So if you want to become a web developer, what would you do? You would build a website so that when you are ready to apply for jobs, you can actually show recruiters like, look, this is the website that I've built. These are the skills that I have. Can you give me the job? So if you're going into a technical role within the tech space, make sure you think portfolio, portfolio, portfolio. What can I put within my portfolio? How can I showcase my skills? There's so many resources online. And like I said, again, great YouTubers who talk about some projects which you can use to help you build your skills and also add to your portfolio for your resume. So make sure you check those guys out. Most jobs will list the required skills and then also the preferred skills. So ask yourself, how many of the required skills do I match? How many of the preferred skills do I match? And can I showcase this in my resume? If I look at my resume, does it match the job description? Think about everything that you've done within your career so far, even if you've never had a job. Like what skills have you learned from the courses that you've completed, the degree that you completed, the boot camp that you completed, any other job that you've done? Do you have any transferable skills that can match the job description? Because it's not just about the skills that you have that are related to tech. You could have any skills which match the job description. You could have worked in recruitment and now you want to work in tech sales. That is still sales. Use those skills from your past to help you with the job that you want to get into. And then when it comes to the aesthetics of the resume, what it actually looks like, my biggest tip is to keep it simple. Sometimes I watch resume tip videos and even I get confused because they're saying you need to use this font and you need to have your picture and it needs to be creative and it needs to be all these things. And sometimes this helps if it's relevant to the job that you're applying for. But I'd imagine for most tech jobs, maybe UX UI design is different, but for a lot of tech jobs, it's okay for you to have a simple one-page resume, and that just showcases the skills that you have and how you relate to the job. There is a bit of debate of whether or not it should be 1 page or it should be 2 pages. That's really up to you to decide. Mine is 1 page. I think my husband's is 1 page as well. We like to just keep it simple. As I said, I have, I think, 2 jobs listed on there. I have all the skills that I've learned over the years, technical skills. I have some of my achievements which are related to the tech industry, so any awards I've won, etc. And then I think I have my degree listed on there, but in a couple of years I'll probably scrap that because I'll be too senior to even need my degree to be on my resume. So just consider the stage in which you're at in your career and ask yourself, do I need that much information? Is it relevant? Will the recruiter find this useful? Your ability to showcase your skills when it comes to the job search is not just about your resume, guys. And I know some people are not gonna like what I have to say, but you probably are going to have to use LinkedIn. The amount of people, especially young people that I meet that don't use LinkedIn, is always baffling to me. I know LinkedIn gets a little bit of shade these days because people say that people are bragging on there. It's like Facebook. But at the end of the day, do you know who's on there? The hiring managers and the recruiters. All the jobs that I've gotten, all the interviews or all the job requests that I've gotten over the last few months have been through LinkedIn. Like, I can't remember the last time someone emailed me. I don't even know how people get into contact with people for jobs when they don't have LinkedIn. Do you get an email? Do they call you? I don't know. If anyone knows, comment down below. My tip for LinkedIn is exactly like my tip for your resume, guys. I want to say keep it professional, keep it simple. Have a professional picture. This is number one. Again, so many times I go onto people's LinkedIn, especially young people, and their picture is like so random, or it's a picture of them in a group and it's like, which one are you? I don't know which one you are. Keep a professional picture. If you are someone who is just new to their career or early in career or at university, honestly, I think it's worth going to get a LinkedIn picture taken, or even just like a headshot, which you can digitize and put as your LinkedIn picture. But 2, have a professional header. Again, just either put like, I think mine is like of the landscape of London. I'm probably going to change it to the company I'm at right now. A lot of people do that, or a picture of you speaking somewhere. So keep that professional. Keep your job title and all the information, number one, true. Don't lie on your LinkedIn, please, guys, because they're probably going to find out. And obviously people you know follow you on there, so you don't want to be lying on there. But make sure everything is true, up to date. Check for any spelling mistakes. Spelling mistakes, guys. Attention to detail is important when you're putting in all the information. But essentially, make sure you fill out every single area. Anywhere which you think, if I'm trying to hire someone, what am I looking for as a recruiter? And also, what do you want people to see? So when they go onto your LinkedIn, what areas do you want them to focus on, and what do you think is going to make you stand out from the crowd? And I know a lot of people ask me this, but like, how often do I post on LinkedIn? Should I be posting? What should I be posting about? So number one, how often? Post as much as you think is consistent. I don't consistently post on LinkedIn. I'll probably post like once every 3 weeks, because I know that is how often that I can post. That is enough for me. But other people, they want to post every day. If that's for you, do that. But I think it's better to just be consistent and be posting at a good rhythm than to post once every year. Because number one, no one's probably going to see that post, and number two, you kind of lose that momentum in regarding to building your personal brand. So make sure you pick a rhythm that is consistent. And number two, what should I be posting about? Honestly, you can pretty much post anything that's related to your job and yourself on LinkedIn, as long as it's professional. Again, LinkedIn is all about building your personal brand. What do you want to be known for? So ask yourself, like, what is my LinkedIn for? For some people, it's for job searching. For other people, it's about building new opportunities beyond jobs. So if you want to be a speaker, or if you started a business and you want customers, it's all about choosing what your LinkedIn is for and then focusing your posts around that. Ideas include what your day looks like, so what I do in a day, so people post that. What some of your views are about a specific technology, so you could talk about AI if you're really interested in it, cloud computing. You can post articles, you can write articles as well. You can also post about university, your experience within university, how you're finding it, what you're learning, what you're hoping to get out of university. Obviously, you can post about your job search, how it's going, you know, who you're interested in working with, what companies you'd like to work with, what's your background in, how many jobs you've applied for. Honestly, anything to tug at the heartstrings these days, people love. I see people posting about being laid off and things like that, and that helps to gain traction and helps you to get people who want to support you as well. So you can post a lot of things on LinkedIn. From a non kind of work related thing, like I said, try and keep it professional, but you can post like when you go to events, if you go to a conference, if you've learned something new. Some people post about their families. It's really up to you, but I think, again, it just goes back to what you want people to see when they go onto your LinkedIn page. The key element to applying for a job and actually getting an offer is, of course, smashing the application process, and specifically the interview, or for the tech space, it's going to be interviews. Most tech roles require at least 1 to 3 interviews, I would say. If you're lucky, you might get 2. If it's very, very, very rare if you get 1. But yeah, it's all about knowing what the application process is going to look like, and knowing how you're going to be successful. So how are you going to do this? You are going to prepare. Fail to prepare is preparing to fail. That is the famous saying, and it rings so true, especially when you're applying for tech jobs, because like I said, you're going to have multiple interviews and you need to be ready. You need to go in there like, I've done my preparation, I have the right skills, I'm the right candidate for this job. And the best way for you to be prepared for these interviews is to, number one, know the interview type. So if you have multiple interviews within your application process, which one are you going to be doing? So it may be a tell me a time when, I think that's competency-based interview. It may be a strength-based interview. It may be a hiring manager interview. It may be a coding interview, or it may just be like a technical interview where you explain technical concepts. So make sure, firstly, you ask the recruiter if they put you forward for an interview. Ask them, what's the interview type that I'm going to go into, and how can I prepare? Secondly, you need to know the potential interview questions that you're going to get. Obviously, the recruiter isn't going to tell you, these are the questions, make sure you prepare, I want you to get this job. We wish it was like that, but often it's not. But what you can do, once you've asked them the interview type, you can use platforms like Glassdoor to look through what other previous candidates have said have come up. I used Glassdoor when I was applying for Microsoft. I slept on Glassdoor. I was like, oh my God, I need to know, and all sorts of questions that could potentially come up, and he helped me so much. So make sure you prep for the potential type of questions that could come up. It is more than likely they're going to ask you things like your strengths and your weaknesses, why you should be hired, what you know about the company. And this one is really important when it comes to tech, because recruiters and hiring managers, they know that people want to work in tech now. They're aware of this. So it's not good enough for you to say, oh, I want to work for Microsoft because it's the biggest company in the world. No, 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 no. They want you to know specifically why, what's personal to you, what is driving you to work here. Why not pick Google? Why not pick Amazon? Why not go anywhere else? So make sure you really prepare that question. Do your research on the company, guys. And I'm not saying, you know, go on Wikipedia and find out when the company was launched. They don't care about that. They don't care that you know these facts. They want you to know exciting projects that they're working on. They want you to have an opinion on some of the things that they've already done. So make sure you go on things like GeekWire. Make sure you use the news. Make sure you ask people who work at the company. That is a good tip, guys. I always do that. Just message them on LinkedIn and say, look, I'm applying for a job. Can I speak to you for an hour, or maybe not an hour, guys, for half an hour or 20 minutes over a coffee about my application? Most people are happy to help you. But yeah, make sure you understand the standard questions that could come up and prepare properly. Preparing for a technical interview is not going to be easy, but most people who go into the tech space are probably going to have to do one. I had to do one. I've always had to do one, even though I work in tech sales, and most people think, oh, if you're in tech sales, then you're not technical. That is not the case, guys. That's why it's important to know what your application process is going to look like. So make sure you prepare for the coding interview. There are coding interview websites like Codewars that you can use to kind of help you build up your coding skills. But again, looking online and figuring out what is that coding interview going to look like, what programming language are they potentially going to ask me, and obviously asking the recruiter as well, and then preparing for that. If it's a coding interview, try and see if you can like peer code with someone before you go into the interview. That tends to also be part of the application process, but yeah, make sure you're preparing for that effectively. I'm going to list below the different type of coding interview resources that there are out there, but yeah, just make sure that you're preparing and that you're ready for what could potentially come up. Finally, the end of the interview is a really important part of the process, and I feel like no one used to know this before, but I'm hoping that we've all started to catch on. You do need to ask a question at the end of the interview. The hiring manager and the recruiter will be expecting you to do so. The reason for this is because if you ask a question, it shows you that you've been listening and that you're interested, that you're not just like a passive person and you don't actually care that much about the job. So make sure you prepare a few questions that you can ask at the end of the interview. People are probably going to be sick of me, but honestly, like I said, as always, keep it simple, guys. Listen to what the recruiter or the hiring manager has been talking about through the interview and note them as questions that you could potentially ask about. So this could be things like their background, why they joined the company, what they enjoy about working at the company, what they find challenging about working at the company or the industry, what they find interesting about the industry that they're in, where did they see the industry going in the future. There's so many great questions that you can ask. You can then also ask about the team that you're joining, what it looks like, why the last person left the role, where the company is thinking about going in the future, where's the team based, what is the culture like within the team as well. There's so many questions that you could be ready with to ask. And then there is one controversial question that everybody always argues of whether or not you should ask, but it's essentially asking about, is there anything else on my CV that you have doubts about, or I should clarify in this moment after this interview? Something like that. I'm sure you've seen it online because everyone says you should ask. I personally don't tend to ask it. I will ask, is there any feedback that I can take away from this day that you can give me? And I think that's a little bit less controversial, I guess, and definitely is often more positive. So it's like feedback and it shows that you're interested in improving. However, some people swear by that question. So if you think that it will help you, then definitely go for it. But I don't actually think that that question will get you the job, as some people often claim. Of course, how you did for the rest of the interview definitely helps, but definitely make sure that you're prepared to ask for those final questions. Wow. So we've done all of these things. We've decided on our whys, we've picked a niche, we've learned our skills, we've gone to do a big gamble or a degree or any structured learning, then we've done our resume, and then we've applied for a job, and hopefully now we have a job offer. That is where I want everybody to be at the end, not even at the end, this year, period, in the middle, at the beginning, wherever we are, but that is where I want you guys to be, to get that feeling of, yes, you've got the offer, congratulations, you got the job, and you've entered the tech space. So I hope this video is super useful. Please follow, subscribe, whatever, like, share, whatever it is that they say that you should do, please do that. But also follow me on my other pages because I have so many other tips. But finally, please do not feel disheartened. I know starting a career in tech is not easy, especially in 2024, but other people are doing it, so you absolutely can. So make sure you let me know what else you want to see, how else I can help you, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.